I need some outside perspective on this. My 29-year-old fiance, who is 27 years old, and I have been dating for 3 years and engaged for 2. To preface, both he and his family knew from the beginning that I wanted a long engagement. To me, it is an important step that needs time. Earlier this year, my fiance came to me with the ultimatum that some sort of marriage has to take place within the year. I see his perspective. We were pushing into year 2, and should note I have anxiety, so starting things or certain social situations can sometimes be a challenge for me. After many hours of talking, where I was in favor of eloping while he preferred a wedding, we settled on a party. The actual vows would be private, just him and I at the courthouse, but we would have a party afterward to celebrate. I started working with a wedding planner and my incredible mother to help me plan this, and created a whiteboard in our home with a list of tasks for both of us to do. It became very apparent that he would not take on these tasks, and I chalk it up to his demanding job. For example, he needed to find a DJ, but down to 4 months before the date, there was no DJ. I found the DJ. I also asked him to please fill out a sheet that has important song information with his parents, but it was not filled out. There are a lot of instances like that. I know some background might be helpful, so I will bullet point a few others. He did not give me the name or address of the people he wanted to invite until the last possible minute, which was the night we placed the order. I worked with his mother to get all of his family's information. He still missed a few colleagues' addresses, so he was going to bring their invitations to them personally. They sat on our dresser until we had a fight about it, and he finally brought them about 2 weeks ago. He didn't put the food tasting date in his phone. This one really hurt me, as I have food allergies, and this was the one thing I stressed. He was about to book a week-long cruise to the Bahamas for his bachelor trip during that week. I am pretty sure it would have happened if his friend hadn't mentioned the dates to me in a completely unrelated conversation. I ended up having to move the tasting date a few weeks back anyway because he had a work trip that appeared out of nowhere. He was very scared to tell me this. He came to my work with flowers and was shaking. The tasting was on a Wednesday, and this was a Monday. The main situation that is causing me to write is this. To preface, he had previously mentioned that he went to a certain place and they had charged his card, but when he went back, they had no record of his transaction. He apparently sped off and came home upset because he believes they did this on purpose. So fast forward a week, I am in the passenger seat, and unbeknownst to me, we are headed to the same spot as this previous instance. We pull in line and order, and he has a complete attitude with these people. Mind you, it's 8 in the morning on a Sunday, and I'm still trying to figure out what is going on, but my anxiety is spiking. He is rude to the lady taking our order, whistling at the window where they verify the order, and making snide comments like, "I didn't know this was a sit-down restaurant." The guy in the window is just staring. I shut down, my anxiety takes over, and I just want to run out of that car. We finally roll up to the next window, get our food, drive off, and he realizes that I am staring at the floorboard and asks what is wrong with me. I ask him to please take me home because we were supposed to get Starbucks, and he gets upset. When we get into the driveway, he starts screaming at me. This is what freaks me out. He has never, ever yelled in my face like that. He told me to go away, saying that as a partner I should be there to support him, and he deserves a partner to back him up. I try to explain my perspective that he put me in an anxiety-inducing situation. I get out of the car and he goes and gets Starbucks. It gets weirder. I'll spare you some details, but as we sit down to talk about what happened over the course of a few days, he thinks I'm recording him, proceeds to check my phone and unplug the security cameras. I come to find out he thinks the people in the drive-thru planned it. He has apologized for the way he acted and for telling me to go away. He does know my anxiety is real and that it can cause me to shut down. He will work on his anger, but I am so concerned there is something larger wrong. I am pleading with him to go to the doctor, therapist, or even a medium. I don't care, but I can't be in a marriage like this. I go to therapy every 2 weeks. I see her again on Tuesday and am terrified to bring this up to her. I have set us up with an online couples therapist, but he still has yet to fill out the intake form. I don't know if he has found an individual therapist. Almost forgot. I feel like there's a lot I left out, but I just am all over the place. I have family that bought plane tickets, and I just feel so guilty for letting them down if I don't do everything I can. Thank you for your perspectives. Now for a few comments before the update. Comment 1. Slam on the brakes. This is a window into your future, and it does not look good. Planning a wedding is stressful, but it's not the only stress you'll face as a couple, and he's showing you very clearly that he's perfectly happy for you to carry that stress alone. He's not treating you like a partner, he's treating you like a parent. He knows that if he ignores your demands to tidy his room for long enough, you'll eventually march in there and clean it up for him. Is this how you want to live the rest of your life? Is this someone that you'd want to have children with? More than that, is this someone you want teaching your children that being apathetic is a great way to coast through life because sooner or later, mom will fix your problems? Stop it all now. Take time, as much as you need, to decide if he's worth exhausting yourself senseless day after day, month after month, year after year. If you decide to stay, then at least you'll be doing it with open eyes. Personally though, I'd go. I don't want to have to raise a teenager in a grown man's body when what I want is an equal partner. Comment 2. He gave you an ultimatum to get married within a year, yet drags his feet on the simplest wedding-related tasks. This is a snapshot of what your life will be like together. You're expected to meet his expectations, but he is not expected to contribute himself in any way. This is how you wind up in a marriage where you are putting in 90% effort and he's putting in 10% effort, yet your 90% effort is never quite good enough. I'd be out the door with all these red flags. The paranoia, the angry outbursts, the lack of effort are all vastly concerning. At the very least, you should be pressing pause on this. Me, I'd be out completely. Don't get married out of guilt from him or apprehension about your family having prepared for this wedding. If they care about you, they want you to be happily married, not locked in an unhappy marriage. Now for the update. A few weeks have gone by since the last incident at home. Honestly, I just wanted to get into this post and avoid any more drama, but I guess the universe had other plans. We went to my parents' house for a family barbecue. You know the kind, where everyone pretends to be happy while eating burgers and trying to avoid the fact that your life is a mess. Anyway, the vibe was off the moment we got there. My fiance was quieter than usual, and I could feel my mom's eyes on us like she was trying to figure out what's going on with us. During the barbecue, my mom asked about our wedding plans. I thought, finally, a chance to show her that we are on track. But nope, my fiance abruptly changed the subject to sports. Like, who cares about sports right now? There was this awkward silence that felt like it lasted forever. Afterwards, I overheard my dad asking my fiance if everything was okay. He just dismissed it with a yeah, just busy with work. For some reason, that response felt off, almost like he was lying. I wanted to call him out on it right there, but I didn't want to make a scene in front of the fam. When we got home, we had a small argument about his attitude. I brought it up, and he was like, "I'm just stressed." Really? That's your excuse? I mean, he is stressed, but so am I. So I scheduled another therapy session for myself to talk about our communication issues. I need to vent to someone, even if it's a stranger. The following week, we went to a wedding of a mutual friend. It was supposed to be a fun night, but my fiance drank more than usual and became this overly animated version of himself. During the reception, he even made a joke about how we should elope instead of having a big wedding. I didn't find it funny at all. Later, I caught him having this intense conversation with the groom outside. When I walked up, he quickly changed the subject, and his guilty look was just the icing on the cake of my panic. After the wedding, we went to a diner for some late-night food. You would think we would be laughing about the night, but no. Out of nowhere, he yelled at the waiter for mixing up our orders. I mean, it's a diner at 2 a.m. What do you expect? We got home and he apologized, saying he was just having a bad day. Oh, just a bad day? I'm sure that's what the waiter thought too. I decided to confront him about his drinking and behavior during the wedding. I told him, "You need to be more considerate." He snapped and said I was making a big deal out of nothing. That was the spark that started our argument. He stormed out to go for a drive. I texted him saying, "Please just come back." Hours later, he finally returns, cold and distant. I knew we needed to have a serious talk about our future, and we weren't going to avoid it any longer. The next weekend, we went to a family dinner at my aunt's house. Just when I thought we were past the drama, my aunt had to ask when we were planning to have children. My fiance said, "Not anytime soon, we're just figuring things out." I was like, "Great, now everyone knows we're a mess." This comment sparked a heated discussion between us later that night. I mean, how clueless can he be? Finally, he agreed to sit down and have a serious conversation. During our talk, I laid out my concerns and expectations, and surprisingly, he opened up about feeling overwhelmed with the wedding planning. I had no idea it was affecting him that much. We reached a compromise to simplify the wedding and take a step back. So yeah, that's where we are. Not perfect, but at least we're trying to meet halfway. Mini update. I talked to my therapist about my fiance's behavior and my concerns. She suggested having an open conversation about our feelings and expectations. I also invited my fiance to join me in therapy, and he agreed. We're hoping this will help us understand each other better and improve our communication. Am I the idiot for calling out my fiance's flimsy excuses and choosing my own happiness over her insecurities? My fiance, a 26-year-old woman, and I, a 26-year-old man, have been together for 4 years, and we're currently preparing to move into our first apartment together. We don't live together yet, though. One issue I've noticed with her is that she cancels plans at the last minute for reasons that seem valid to her, but not to me. For example, she once canceled plans just a few hours before an event I was really excited about because she had a stressful day at work and just wanted to stay home, eat pizza, and do some self-care. Since I didn't have anyone else to go with, I ended up missing out and felt really disappointed. At times, it feels like she's being selfish. Because of this, I've stopped making plans with her as often. Instead, we just hang out at each other's places. However, this weekend I was really looking forward to going to a ramen restaurant that's known for having long wait times. My fiance suggested we go, and we finalized our plans. I even skipped heavy meals throughout the day so I could fully enjoy the ramen. She knew how much I was looking forward to it. I had also invited a friend, Carla, but she hadn't confirmed yet. Up until an hour before we were supposed to leave, it was assumed that it would just be my fiance and me. However, my fiance, like the flake she is, canceled on me an hour before we were supposed to leave because she had a nosebleed. I mean, a nosebleed. Seriously? That's your reason for canceling a plan? Again? I get nosebleeds too. It's not a big deal. Everyone has had nosebleeds as a kid too. She said she was sorry she couldn't go and suggested we could go tomorrow. I was heartbroken and felt so dismissed, like she lacked consideration and respect for me and my time. I had my say too. Just because you don't feel like going out doesn't mean I shouldn't too. I hate that her refusal felt like a decision was made for me. I was festering in my own misery when Carla texted me and said that she could join us both. I was happy about this because I really didn't know who I could go with at that time when she canceled and assumed Carla wouldn't be able to make it as well. So I told Carla that my fiance couldn't make it, but I'd love to go with her instead. I figured my life shouldn't stop just because my fiance cancels. I deserve to have fun too. I ended up going with Carla, and maybe out of a bit of pettiness, I posted an Instagram story with the caption, "Best ramen partner ever." This really upset my fiance because it probably looked like I was on a date with another woman. Carla is very attractive and my fiance has some insecurities, so it didn't help. To be clear, she wasn't just upset about the story. She was upset about the fact that I didn't plan my life around her and went out with another girl alone. I told her that she already knew that Carla could join me and her based on our original plan. How is it my fault that I went with someone who was actually available to take some time out to hang out with me instead of my own partner, who makes poor excuses? Like, it's clearly not happening for the first time. It's a pattern. I told her off and said that she has no right to be upset. And if she really wants me to not go out with someone else other than her, she needs to step up and show up as a partner and not assume she's the center of my universe. She started apologizing deeply and crying on the phone. However, I told her that I need some time to reconsider our relationship, to see if it serves me, because I genuinely feel that I don't need so much disappointment in my life that she's bringing. I flatly told her that right now it doesn't feel like she's bringing any net value to my life. To add again, she has a pattern of canceling plans at the last minute. 7 out of 10 times, I am disappointed in her. It's not a one-off occurrence. Otherwise, I wouldn't be making this post. Now for a few comments before the update. Comment 1. Is it unfortunate that she sometimes cancels plans? Yes. Is it even more unfortunate to talk about her the way you do and sullenly decide she doesn't bring value to your life because of it? Yes. My advice is to break up. You obviously don't love her, and you don't seem ready for an adult relationship. Comment 2. The fact that you describe your partner in terms of net value added tells me you are not the kind of person who's remotely ready for marriage. I don't even need to read the rest of the post. Now for the update. It's been a few months since that whole mess happened with my ex-fiance. We had that big fight where I basically told her I needed space and her to do some serious self-reflection. And she cried, and I felt bad for a second, but honestly, I was just exhausted. So yeah, it was pretty much a silent few months between us after that. She moved out of the place we were supposed to share and went back to her dad's. I moved into the apartment we signed for, but I did it alone. I figured it was best for now and just a clean break. So, I've been living here for a few months, and honestly, it's been a lot of fun. I never realized how much I would enjoy just doing my own thing. I mean, I'm 29, I should have figured that out by now. I make plans with my friends, and I don't have to worry about anybody bailing on me last minute. It's just nice. So there was this one weekend a few weeks ago. I went to this birthday party for Carla, my friend. She invited me over to celebrate at this local brewery. The atmosphere was just super chill. We were playing games and drinking, and honestly, I can't remember the last time I laughed that much. It was great. But I noticed something. Carla was acting a bit more flirty than usual. Like she was making these jokes and giving playful touches and, I don't know, just really being touchy-feely. I tried to just brush it off because I was having a good time with my friends and didn't want to overthink anything. But yeah, as the night went on, I got a text from my ex asking how my weekend was going. I told her the truth, just said I was at a party and having fun. I mean, it wasn't like I was doing anything wrong. But she responded with this super passive-aggressive comment about how I could enjoy my life without her. I felt this irritation rising, but I just ignored it. I didn't want to ruin my night by getting into it with her. So I just kept chatting with my friends and having a good time. After the party, Carla texted me and asked if I wanted to hang out again soon. I said yeah, thinking it would be nice to have a friend around who understood me. Around the same time, my ex started posting these cryptic updates on social media about feeling misunderstood. I mean, come on. I tried to reach out to her. I suggested we meet for coffee or something. I figured it was worth a shot. So, we met up for coffee, and honestly, she seemed distant and just not interested in what I had to say. I brought up her social media posts, and she just dismissed it as nothing. I knew it wasn't nothing, but whatever. A week later, my mom called me about this family dinner planned for the upcoming weekend. So I invited my ex, hoping it might help mend things between us. I know, wishful thinking, but honestly, at the dinner, it was just so awkward. Like the tension was just there, hanging in the air. My brother Jake and sister-in-law Rachel were there too, talking about their new baby, and I could just feel my ex's eyes on me. It felt like they were purposely trying to make me uncomfortable. It did hurt, honestly, but I couldn't show it. At one point, my ex made this snarky comment about how some people had different priorities. I snapped back and asked her if she was still upset about the ramen dinner. Yeah, stupid comment from me, I know. But honestly, I was just over all of it. The awkward smiles, the silent treatment, the passive-aggressive comments. It was just too much. Then it turned into this big argument, and we ended up storming out of the family dinner, leaving everyone just shocked. I didn't care at that point. After that, my ex sent me a text saying she needed space. I took it as a cue to focus on myself, so I planned a weekend getaway with some friends. We rented this cabin in the woods, and it was just what I needed. We went hiking, sat by the fire, and just hung out. Honestly, it was the best. But then I came back, and I found this unsettling message from my ex asking to meet. So we met up, and she revealed that she had been spending time with someone else. She said it was because she felt lonely. I took a deep breath and just asked for details. She admitted that the other person was a mutual friend. So after that, I just left the meeting and started figuring out how to handle the situation. I knew I had to confront this mutual friend at Carla's next birthday celebration. You see, this mutual friend was the one who got my ex into all this trouble. So at the celebration, I approached him directly and demanded an explanation. He awkwardly admitted to having feelings for my ex. I then revealed that I knew everything and had no intention of letting them get away with it. I made it clear that I would expose their actions to everyone at the party if they didn't come clean. He panicked and agreed to tell my ex that he was backing off. After that, I left the party, feeling satisfied that I had taken a stand. I decided to cut ties with both my ex and the mutual friend. The entire situation had shifted from personal disappointment to public drama. Honestly, I was just over it. I closed the chapter and was ready to embrace whatever came next. Edit. It's been quite a journey since then. I had a long chat with my family where they apologized for putting me in the middle of things. They didn't know how serious the situation was. I also spoke to my friends, including Carla. She clarified that her feelings weren't just a reaction to my ex. They had been there for a while, and she was just trying to be supportive. I assured her that I valued our friendship and wanted to keep it that way. Am I the idiot for keeping my pregnancy a secret and losing everything in the process? I found out I was pregnant 7 months before our wedding, and since we are both from Indian families who would have criticized us both, along with a lot of judgment from our extended families, I didn't tell anyone about the pregnancy and got a baby unaliving. My best friend accidentally revealed it to my fiance, and he broke up with me. He told me I could stay in his apartment until I found a new place, and I tried talking to him and suggesting we see a counselor to work through it. He just told me that he wasn't judging me for the baby unaliving, but that for the past 6 months, I had been telling him that I wanted to start a family and have children with him. However, when it became a reality, I chose not to tell him and was going to keep it a secret forever, and no amount of talking or counseling could get him to trust me again. He said that he deserved to at least know, and maybe he would have supported getting a baby unaliving. Or on the other hand, we could have moved the wedding up or pushed it back and worked through however our families would have reacted. He also said that it was probably his fault, since he likely didn't make me feel comfortable enough to trust him with this. So either way, there was no point in staying together, which honestly broke my heart because all he ever did was make me feel loved and safe. He promised not to tell anyone about the baby unaliving, and he has stayed true to that. It feels like ever since he found out, something inside him switched. He didn't look at me the same anymore and was just indifferent toward me. I found a new place and moved out of his apartment 2 weeks ago. I was invited to a friend's mini engagement celebration where she revealed that she was pregnant, and everyone was absolutely ecstatic for her. Ever since then, I can't stop thinking about the child I would have been pregnant with and the life we would have had together. I feel like I jumped the gun and rushed getting a baby unaliving without thinking it through, and then hiding it from him was obviously a mistake. I confided in my mom about what happened, and she is disappointed, to say the least. She said that she doesn't care about the baby unaliving, but my ex had a right to know, and if we had decided to keep it, she would have supported us and shielded us from our extended family's comments. I regret everything, and I just want to be back with him. I know I lost his trust, and I will do absolutely everything to get it back. I've been calling and messaging, and he hasn't blocked me, so I know it's getting through to him, and he's not responding. How can I regain his trust and get him back? Now for a few comments before the update. Comment 1. All he ever did was make me feel loved and safe. If you felt safe, Why did you not trust him to involve him in this decision? Of course he doesn't trust you. You made it clear that you were more interested in the feelings of your family and their judgment than you were in trusting him to make a decision about building a future together. You can't fix this because you can't undo it and involve him in the decision. You need to accept that when you hid this from him, you forever broke his ability to trust you. Comment 2. There isn't any coming back from this. Not only did you not tell him what was going on, he's likely thinking that if your friend had said nothing, he would have never known. It probably felt like another slap in the face that you couldn't even be honest with him and he had to hear from someone else. If you are planning to spend your life with someone, it makes absolutely no sense that you would hide something like this. I'm sorry you went through that. But it is over. Now for the update. My fiance and I broke up almost a month ago, and I'm living with my friend Sarah. It's been tough, but Sarah's been great. Her place is small, but it feels safe. When you're going through something rough, you just need a place where you can breathe, right? That's what it is. I haven't been able to get through to my ex. I've texted him, called him, you name it. Not a single response from him. It's like I disappeared for him. I went to my cousin's wedding a week ago, and it was a bit of a mixed bag. Weddings are supposed to be happy, right? I should be happy for my cousin, but seeing everyone else in love and having fun just hit me hard. I saw my ex's sister, Priya, there, and she was really supportive. It's funny how you can be surrounded by people and still feel alone. Priya told me my ex has been feeling lost and unsure about everything since we broke up. I overheard her talking to her friends about how she wished I could just talk to him again. That was a bit heartbreaking to hear. Like, I wish I could talk to him too, if only it were that easy. So I decided to send my ex a heartfelt letter through Priya. Yep, I wrote him a letter. I poured my heart out. I explained my side of the story and how I regretted keeping secrets from him. I just wanted him to know how I felt. Priya promised to deliver the letter but warned me that my ex is still hurt and angry. Can't blame him, really. A few days went by, and I didn't hear anything back from either Priya or my ex. I went to a family dinner where my mom asked about my ex. I told her about the letter, and she suggested I should give him space. She thinks he needs time to come around when he's ready. I get that, but it's hard. I'm still a bit of a mess. I went to a friend's birthday party after that, where I felt completely out of place. I was supposed to be there with my ex, celebrating with him. Instead, there I was, trying to pretend I was having a good time. At the party, I ran into my ex's best friend, Rahul. He was surprisingly friendly, which was a relief. He mentioned that my ex still talks about me often and isn't moving on easily. That made me feel a bit better. At least I know he still thinks about me. A week later, I got a text from Priya saying my ex read the letter but needed time to process everything. That's all I can ask for right now. I'll give him time. I went to a family gathering where my aunt asked about my life plans now that I was single. That's a tough question. My mom pulled me aside during the family gathering to discuss how my ex might feel betrayed. She mentioned that he had a right to know and that honesty is important in relationships. She's not wrong, but I wish she could see my side too. A couple of days later, I got a message from Priya saying my ex was open to having a conversation. We agreed to meet at a coffee shop. I thought it was a small win. Just talking to him again was a step forward. When I arrived at the coffee shop, my ex was already there. He looked uncomfortable and distant, which broke my heart a bit. We started talking, and he said he felt blindsided by my decision to keep the baby unaliving from him. I tried to explain again, but he interrupted, saying he needed more than just words. He told me it felt like I had taken away a future we could have had together. That hit hard. I offered to meet again, but he said he wasn't sure that would change anything. I know he's feeling hurt, but I wish he could understand where I was coming from. After that, I decided to take a break from reaching out. It felt like I was pushing him further away. Instead, I focused on finding a new place to live. I started looking at rentals. A week later, I found a small apartment that I could afford and signed the lease. It felt good to have my own space again. The day before moving in, I saw my ex at the grocery store with a new girlfriend. They looked happy, and that really stung. I moved into my new apartment, It's weird to think my life is changing so much, and yet it feels like nothing's really changed at all. A few days later, I found out through Priya that my ex was planning to propose to his new girlfriend. That hurt, honestly. I mean, we were supposed to get engaged too. I had to just focus on my new life and cut off any remaining ties to my past. It's better that way. I'm still figuring things out, but I know I have to keep moving forward. Edit. I want to clarify some points. My fiancé and I had never discussed the possibility of me having a baby on a living, so he wasn't aware of my choice. I felt I couldn't share that news due to my family's expectations. My fiancé's anger comes from feeling misled and like he was not given the opportunity to support me. While he is now dating someone else, I know he still cares. I needed to share this update for clarity. If you like this video, you'll probably like these too. Also, while you're here, please consider subscribing. It's your support that keeps this channel alive and allows me to make better and longer videos. Have a great day.